Hi, this is Rohini Rathore, and over the next few days I'm going to be reading out some excerpts, selected chapters from my book Leading Ladies, which was released back in 2016. Today I want to give you a feel for what this book is about. So I'm going to read a couple of the early chapters, and I will also be reading my story in a separate video. The book really is all about how women make a contribution to our society, and rather than pontificate and give you my view on how women do that, I wanted to do it by getting ordinary, relatable women to tell me their stories. So it's a collection of stories. We have 32 women whose stories are in this book, and they're all stories of courage, and how they actually used something they were passionate about to find purpose in life. So I hope you enjoy it. Obviously there's no substitute to actually reading the book, which is available on all major online retailers, and you can also get it in ebook form. But today I'm going to read you a couple of excerpts that give you a feel for what this book is about, and then you can make up your own mind whether or not it's something for you. This book. Like a number of decisions in my life, writing a book was not something I had ever planned or thought I was even capable of doing. I lacked the imagination to be a fiction writer, but I discovered during my working years that I enjoy writing and can bring concepts and stories to life with my words. If someone had asked me as an 18-year-old to write down what I thought I would be doing 30 years later, I doubt I would have got even a single thing right. That is what makes life so interesting. Few of us can ever really predict our own future, let alone someone else's. Our lives are full of sliding door moments, like in the movie where we are shown two alternate developments in the character's life, depending on whether she caught the tube home one day or missed it. Years of planning and preparation can sometimes seem a waste if they do not result in the outcome we had hoped for. My experience tells me that almost nothing we do is ever a waste if it teaches us something new or makes us stronger. This book explores the stories of 32 women and one man who tells us his late mother's story and the impact she had on his own life, in different stages of their lives, providing the reader with a broad spectrum of backgrounds, aspirations, and achievements. I wanted to hear their backstory, what their early experiences were, what it was like growing up, what motivated them, who they turned to for support and encouragement, their life's vision, the lessons they learned, and the advice that they had for others. A number of those I approached were known to me. Others were recommended by friends or had approached me because they felt my project chimed with them. Many of the women I interviewed for this book were speaking to me for the very first time. I wanted them to feel at ease and open up in a way that felt right to them. I'm grateful for the trust they placed in me, and I hope I have done their stories justice. Some of the ladies in the book have already arrived at the place they want to be. Others are still finding their way, and still others are on their second or third journey. For this reason, not every story will flow the same. I hope the personalities of these individual women will shine through their words and my narration of their stories. Some were open and chatty, while others left more to the imagination, but proved nevertheless insightful for their reticence. At first it was not my intention to include my story at all, but then I realized that without it, the reader might find it harder to understand my motivation for writing this book and the conclusions at the end. I am guilty of verbal diarrhea when it comes to the narration of my own story, which aims to provide the reader with a glimpse into my life's journey and how I got to the place where I find myself today. It took exactly 3 months from the very first interview to the first draft of the book being finished. I decided not to plan the structure of the book, nor place the ladies into any predetermined buckets before I had spoken to every one of them, got their approval on how I intended to tell their story, and read every one of the stories in alphabetical order. Their stories of resilience, compassion, and courage tell us that there is nothing in this world that stops us from discovering the person we are meant to be, or from becoming the person we want to be, even if it takes us an entire lifetime to get there. This is the kind of self-help book that enables you to look at your own life through the prism of someone else's experience. You may relate to the places that the protagonists in this book found themselves during various points in their lives, and you could draw parallels to your own situation. You could learn from their mistakes, understanding full well that it won't stop you from making your own. You will learn that making mistakes and failure are all part of a learning process that never ends. You may be in an unhappy place, too afraid of the unknown to make a change, or to walk away from things that are making you sad. You are not alone. Others have been there too and have found the unknown is not such a bad place once you get there. But it needs courage and a certain mindset to take that first step. You could draw inspiration from their journey. I also hope this book will shine a light on the subject of women's contribution to society and economic growth. It is often less visible, can be intangible, and is therefore frequently underappreciated. Women will always play the role of nurturers and playmakers from the shadow, enjoying none of the glory. Just because they don't get paid or receive any formal recognition for their role should not stop us from acknowledging their worth. Most of all, this book aims to help us see why this world needs both men and women. We each have a role to play. Women's empowerment is not about having to prove that we are equal to men, or even better than them. It has everything to do with understanding, accepting, and celebrating who we are, what makes us different, and how we complement each other, and ultimately how best we can contribute to this world in our own unique way. Thank you for listening, and I will be back with another chapter very soon.